The ones you love the most are the same ones who can hurt you the most. Of any close relationship, whether a friend, relative, or lover, this can be said. And in the case of Christopher Chance and Ice from Tom King and Greg Smallwood's 2023 Eisner-winning series The Human Target, published by DC Comics under their Black Label imprint, there's not a more fit description. The Human Target hypothesizes the kiss on the lips that sends shivers down your spine from a beautiful girl you know you don't deserve is indistinguishable from the black, cold kiss of death. All-consuming, it terrifies and excites until you can't remember what is wrong or right, what is up or down. It's the sexiest thing I've ever read, and I'm here to tell you why. Before things get too hot in here, I'd like to ask you to please subscribe to this channel. Please give this video a like if you enjoy it. And why not hit that notification bell while you're at it so that you're notified as soon as a new video drops. Also, if you could sign up to be notified when my new comic launches on Kickstarter this fall. The Fabled Offering is my new sci-fi fantasy epic. It's about Princess Aurelia as she goes on a quest to save herself and her kingdom from her past traumas. If you're a fan of Dune, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and just epic sci-fi fantasy, you're going to love this book. It's going to blow your mind. I have some amazing variant covers I'm going to reveal on the channel here soon, so stay tuned for that. Sex sells. You know it, I know it. And you and I know full well that sex sells comic books. Ask any comic book fan, and I bet they could point you to the first comic or comic book character that made them take 2, 3, 4, okay, who's counting? Infinitely long stares. We nerds are quite thorough, if you know what I mean. I'm looking at you, Power Girl, Emma Frost, Catwoman, Black Cat, Scarlet Witch, Poison Ivy, Mary Jane, and on the list goes. You always remember your first. Plus, the Michael Turners, J. Scott Campbells, Frank Cho's, Greg Land's, Art Germs of the world, and whoever else you want to throw in there do not help. My personal favorite, and this is my one and only confession during this video, is Lionel Yu's Spider-Woman from Brian Michael Bendis' New Avengers Secret Invasion era. I'm glad you all can't see me now because I am drooling. Wait, where were we? Oh yeah, sex. Otherwise known as everyone's favorite activity that no one is allowed to talk about. Sex sells comics, but have you ever heard of a comic that sells sex? I mean at its most innocent, if we can use that word here. I believe we can. Sweet, intimate, and vulnerable? At its most sexy? Writer Tom King and artist Greg Smallwood do this without bowing the knee to shallow fan service to get you in the door. There's not one sex scene in Human Target, come to think of it. Or nip slip, or panty shot. Just simply the elegance of a man and woman losing themselves in each other in classic Hollywood cinema fashion. Sex, or the absence of it, funnily enough, and the beauty of the female form was never more intoxicating. Waves of romantic and sexual tension between Christopher Chance, aka the Human Target, and Ice crash against you in the first 3 issues of the series. But it's not until issue 4 where the butterflies in the stomach start to flutter at an intense rate. "I feel you looking, Christopher," Ice says as she walks in front of him wearing a short blue dress. "Just wondering where you keep your costume, ma'am," he smoothly responds. Throughout the same issue, there are these quiet but potent moments, paralleling interludes you could call them, as Chance, Ice, and Blue Beetle go from mission to mission, fighting bad guys and saving the day. Ice lays her head on Chance's shoulder early on, then they lock fingers. Finally, after a day of playing superhero, she inches her hand down Chance's thigh with each consecutive panel. This cat and mouse game, the occasional flirt here and there, reaches its inevitable zenith when Chance begins coughing as Ice stands before him. "I'm sorry. Sometimes when I look at you, how beautiful you are, I can't breathe." Before the issue wraps, Chance is outside his hotel room when he notices the lock to the door is broken and cold. "It's open," comes a voice from inside the room. We turn the page and there Ice is, pouring a drink and wearing nothing but a white robe. "All you have to do is push," she says. Chance narrates the final page, stating, "She's a god, and all I can think to do is to get down on my knees and pray." What makes all this work is not only Smallwood's ineffable artistic prowess. How he captures a woman's lips, eyes, hands, and hips could cut down the most macho of us to pieces. And no, it's not only Tom King's spot-on word choices that have the striking ability to freeze time and dare you to turn the page. It's the marriage between the two when sparks fly. You could lust after Smallwood's women, but you couldn't fall in love with them without King's words. It's the pacing, the rhythm, the communication, when to lead, when to follow, And no, I'm not talking about sex here, but I can hear you snickering under your breath. That turns what would have easily made Human Target just a great comic, which would have been enough, into a masterclass triumph of storytelling worthy of praise for decades to come. Ask me what's the best comic in the past 5 to 7 years? Without question, it's this one. I'd never forgive myself if I spoiled the murder mystery of the Human Target series for you. Christopher Chance has 12 days to live, and the entire premise of the book revolves around investigating who his killer or killers might be. His trail leads him to Justice League International members, with ICE being one of the handful of suspects. Conceptually, what really grabbed me was the comparison between love and death that King entertains. Are they really so disconnected? So far removed from each other, or can they be the same thing? Maybe falling in love is a little like dying on the inside. It erases something fundamental from you, something you can't recover. In the penultimate issue, there is a scene I'm absolutely obsessed with, so much so that it's etched into my memory. A character holds a gun to another character's head for reasons I will not divulge, and as this takes place, one of these characters professes, through tears, "I love you." In one moving scene, it's here that King and Smallwood encapsulate Human Target's deepest thematic connective tissue. What is the value of love without death constantly hanging over us? Mortality's inescapable shadow makes experiencing love priceless. Brushing up against death is like rubbing shoulders with a gorgeous woman because, in that moment, that's all that is in front of you. You are all adrenaline and fear, and you don't know what to do with yourself. After their first kiss, Chance thinks to himself, "Yesterday I was dead. Today I'm in trouble." Yeah, that sounds about right. There's nothing wrong with your Power Girl collection or buying the same comic 5 times over because you have to own all the covers featuring a favorite superhero in more revealing skin-tight clothing than usual. But if you're in the mood for characters, conversations, thoughts, and the expression of romantic feelings that stimulate your brain and your heart, not just those other parts down there, give the Human Target a shot. Sexy has a new face, a new definition, and it's one that will surely outlast our failing human bodies.